What is up, Straight Fire fam? It's me, Jason McIntyre, Straight Fire, for Thursday, June the 12th. Let's go. Indiana Pacers with the dub. 5-point dogs win outright at home with a monster fourth quarter. Listen, I know it's a finals not to get that excited about. That was a great freaking basketball game. Just a phenomenal game. Indiana takes the lead in the second quarter. OKC comes back with a big third. J Dub hits that dagger at the end of the quarter. They go into the fourth up 5. You're like, oh, OKC's got it. I was ready to write the series off. I had said if they win game 3, it's over. Because then OKC can lose game 4. It doesn't matter. They still get 2 out of 3 at home. And I don't see, as I said before the series, I don't see OKC losing in 7. I just don't. That is a tough place to play. I mean, they throttled Denver. Like, it's just a tough place to play. OKC. And Indiana had to have it, and they got it in dramatic fashion, 116-107. So a couple big picture things that big time jump out, okay? Fourth quarter, Indiana 32-18. And OKC looked outright gassed. You could see it in the third quarter. Both teams, big first half. Both of them were over 60 points. And you could see third quarter started to slow down. And this is what I saw. I heard Doris Burke say, boy, they've had 7 different defenders on SGA. She said this early in the fourth quarter. I was like, 7? And then I started to write in my notes. I'm like, okay, they got Nembhard, Nesmith, Hallie. Oh, shucks. They got Ben Mathurin, who had the game of his life. You had TJ McConnell. You had Ben Shepherd. And I think the other one was Obi Toppin, but it might have been Siakam. Either way, 7 defenders. And then you watch the way they defended SGA. And listen, he's the MVP. He's great. He made 1 basket in the fourth quarter. His fourth quarter, 1 of 2 free throws, 1 basket on 2 shots, and 1 turnover. He was tired, guys. And not only did 7 different guys go at him, they picked him up full court. And this has kind of been one of the themes of the postseason. Okay? We've seen teams repeatedly do this. I've got young legs. I've got a bench. I'm picking you up full court. I'm going to slowly but surely wear you down. You don't just get to free dribble up the court, right? And you watch SGA in the fourth, and you're like, damn, he looks tired. But it wasn't just picking him up full court. If you watch the actions that Indiana was running, they were running right at Chet Holmgren with the initial screen, and the second screen was against SGA. He was working his butt off at both ends. And I know he's a good two-way player. He's not a great two-way player, okay? Let's not put him, he's not Scottie Pippen defensively, okay? He's not Klay Thompson, who was a lethal shooter and one of the best defensive guards in the league. He's just not at that level. He's a good defender. But it wears you down when you've got to create everything and then go bust your hump defending. Couple other numbers for SGA. His magic number is, can he get to the free throw line 8 or more times? I think they have 1 loss in the postseason when he gets to the line 8 or more times, the free throw margin. He only got to the line 6 times. And then the kicker, 6 turnovers for SGA, which is a definite giveaway. I mean, he had 4 assists and 6 turnovers. The OKC Thunder had 17 turnovers, 16 assists. That's not OKC basketball. Now, we did give you this yesterday. Hey, man, game 3 is their struggle game. Struggled in Memphis, even though they got the win because John Morant got hurt. Lost against Denver, and then got just blitzed, like gave the game away to Minnesota. Obviously, they were in this one, and they had the lead going into the fourth, and they just ran out of gas. Now, if you want to get excited as a Pacers fan, only 1 day of rest between these two. And look at this, Rob. I was surprised when I looked at the box score. SGA played the most minutes in the game, 42. After that, J-Dub 36, Chet 35, Lou Dort 36. But SGA played a game-high 42 minutes. Halliburton led the Pacers at 36. Now, I know people are saying, Jason, these guys are young. What is 3 minutes here for? This is playoff NBA Finals intensity basketball. Totally, completely different than a regular season game. Halliburton, they were able to come back in the fourth. This is crazy. Halliburton started the fourth on the bench, and it was TJ McConnell, and it was Ben Mathurin bringing him back. Then they put Siakam on the bench and brought in Obi Toppin. And with Siakam out, Obi Toppin goes off. He had to dunk back. Folks, listen to these bench numbers. Obi Toppin, plus 18. Ben Mathurin, plus 16. and TJ McConnell, who stole an inbounds pass. You gotta love that. Plus 12. They obliterated the OKC bench. They basically gave OKC their own medicine. Hey, you know what? We're coming out. We're coming hard. We're coming for 48. And we've got the crowd. We're juiced up. They weren't really hitting their threes. This was one of their worst 3-point shooting nights of the season, but they made 3 of 5. Yeah, 3 of 5 in the fourth, which was huge. And OKC, I know you guys don't want to hear this. They wilted under the Indiana pressure. Now, I don't know how you spin this forward, but if Indiana gets game 4 and there will be pressure on OKC, is this the game where, I don't know, does J-Dub, who had 4 turnovers and he looked uncertain, I don't totally believe in him yet, like everyone else, but he had 4 turnovers, 3 assists. He's not comfortable with the ball. Chet Holmgren, 0 for 6 on threes. He had some good looks. Miles Turner ends up swatting one in his face. By the way, Miles Turner, ill, under the weather, according to Rick Carlisle, did not shoot it great, 3 of 11, but defensively, 5 blocks. And Rick Carlisle said he's probably not going to practice on Thursday because he's not feeling good. But it doesn't really matter when you can get quality minutes out of your bench. And Rob, Aaron Wiggins was one of the heroes in game 2. Came off the bench, splashing threes left and right. 10 minutes over 2. This, to me, is Dagnall not trusting his guys and desperately wanting this game. That's why he played him heavy minutes. And frankly, they wore down in the fourth quarter. I think Indiana is clearly onto something with picking up full court. But the best solution for OKC is, hey, we need other guys to score. So SGA doesn't have to score, create, and then play heavy minutes and play defense. And I know, hey man, that's basketball. You got to play at both ends. Well, if you're able to rest, because I don't know, Isaiah Joe comes in and is hitting threes. He did make 2, but he only played 4 minutes, weirdly. It didn't look like they trusted their bench. OKC's bench with a robust 18 points. Okay. Indiana got 27 from Mathurin. 10 from TJ McConnell, 4 from Shepard, and 8 from Obi Toppin. I love what I saw. I know OKC hasn't lost back-to-back games in forever. Zigzag theory probably says OKC bounces back here. But if we're being honest, Rob, I thought Indiana had to have this, and I like their role players at home, and I am leaning toward a Friday night Pacers win at home to go up 3-1.
Wow. J-Max staying true to form, just hating on OKC all the way down the line. I love it. I love it. Well, first off, the Indiana Pacers, that finishing kick was a championship level finishing kick. That was not just, hey, they're a solid team. Hey, they're plucky. Hey, they are a team of destiny. No, no, no. What they did in that fourth quarter is something that you would see from a LeBron James led fourth quarter team, a Steph KD fourth quarter, Shaq and go. Pick whoever your favorite team is, right? In that fourth quarter, for them to walk them down the way they did, you mentioned they went at 32-18. These are my 2 favorite numbers of that fourth quarter, though. They forced 5 turnovers in the fourth. They had 5 block shots defensively. 3 of them were Miles Turner on Chet specifically. So what they did in that fourth quarter has to be commended. They made all the plays that OKC did not. They looked like a team, quite frankly, that is comfortable in these kind of games. OKC, as great as they've been all season, as great as they've been in this playoffs, they haven't been in a lot of close games. They've been blowing the doors off of everybody all season. And it's part of the reason why we had that conversation after game 1, about their depth. And it's like, well, who is your 5? Because we don't know. You haven't been in this position very often. And Indiana did exactly what Indiana does all the way down to, I saw you tweet about it, about a minute left, and Tyrese Halliburton, rather than run clock, throws it up ahead to Siakam. Siakam gets the layup to go up 8. Most teams would slow it down there. Conventional wisdom says slow it down there. But they are so used to doing what they do that they know what their identity is. Like they are, the Indiana Pacers are doing what the Pacers do. And for them, you got to feel great heading into game 4. Now, if I'm going to do the glass half empty approach to it, though, obviously the big stars of the game, TJ McConnell, Ben Mathurin. I mean, I saw a stat about TJ McConnell that I had to look over 4 different times. I actually had to cross-reference it with several Twitter accounts because, like, there's no way that this could be true.
Oh my God.
Uh, TJ McConnell in 15 minutes had 10 points, 5 assists. Here's my favorite part: 5 steals. The first bench player ever to have numbers like that in a finals game. Okay. But obviously, the big story, Ben Mathurin, 25 points off the bench. Here's a list of players in NBA history who have scored 25 plus points off the bench in a finals game this century: Ben Mathurin, Jason Terry, Manu
JT.
Ginobili.
Oh
Like,
boy.
he's in elite company. Now,
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Go
the
ahead.
problem, though, again, if you are taking the negative, the pessim, if you're taking an OKC positive approach, Ben Mathurin and the Indiana Pacers have played 19 playoff games now, including game 3. He's had 5 games where he scored at least 19 points. Like, of course, he did last night in game 3. He's also had 7 games where he scored less than 5. So can you count on him to have this kind of performance again in game 4? History says no. And
Mm.
will we see Pascal Siakam finally get unlocked? Because he hasn't really been himself so far in this series. I'm interested to see what Pacers player is going to go and really step up, because Tyrese Halliburton had an outlier game for him. Like, he hasn't been this aggressive so far in this series. So, we'll see which one of these guys steps up. Again, to your point, role players usually play better at home.
Mm.
And even still, you got to feel great if you're Indiana.
Hallie
Absolutely.
heard you trashing him, Rob. He had 22, 11, and 9. I mean, he had a phenomenal game. Now, this is crazy. He hasn't attempted a free throw in the series. Is that right? Because he did not attempt one in game 3. Yeah, your point guard, who is a driving machine, and averaged 3 free throws a game against the Knicks, and averaged 3 against the Bucks, and averaged 3 against the Cavs. 0 free throw attempts for Hallie in the series. Now, Mathurin's interesting. This guy was a big time recruit, right? Goes to Arizona for a year. If memory serves, they were really good. They had an amazing NCAA tournament game and got upset. Mathurin saves it for the biggest moment. So it was game 4, up 2-1 against the Knicks. You had to have it. Tough game. Mathurin goes for 20 points off the bench, just a dagger to the Knicks. And that's kind of what he does. I don't know, man. I know people love Kason Wallace, who's now starting for OKC, and he's a dog defender. Is he better than Ben Mathurin? I'm being honest. Like, I know Mathurin isn't that great of a defender, although I did see a stat. He held SGA scoreless in their minutes in game 1. The data's not out yet for what happened in game 3. But if Ben Mathurin is a plus defender and he's a bucket, why can't he be Victor Oladipo, Rob, in the NBA? Victor Oladipo, by the way, was all NBA guy before the injuries. I like a lot about Mathurin. And when you can lean on him off the bench for, let's see how many, 22 minutes, and Hallie doesn't have to play a lot. And if Neesmith is in foul trouble, oh well. If Nembhard's in foul trouble, we got TJ McConnell, we got Mathurin. I don't know, man. The Pacers are crazy. And let me just toss this out there. If you're the Knicks, and I don't want to make this about the Knicks, but this is relevant to the game. You now watch the Pacers go up 2-1 on mighty OKC, which was minus 700 before the series. And you fired your coach. And you tried to get permission to speak with Chris Finch, and you were denied, and Ime Udoka, and you were denied, and Jason Kidd, and you were denied. Are you like, ooh, did we F up here, dumping Tom Thibodeau for losing to the Pacers? Because the Pacers are now beating OKC. And last thing, Rob, when New York had game 1 and Indiana came back and stole it with Neesmith heroics and the Halliburton shot at the buzzer, New York was chasing the rest of the series. It feels to me like OKC is now chasing because of what Halliburton did in game 1. OKC needed game 2, and Indy kind of rolled over. You got this. You're at home. We'll give it to you. And I don't think they actually punted the game. The effort isn't as like it is when you're desperate and your life's on the line. Game 3, Indiana gets the win, and now OKC's chasing. And honestly, I'm just going to remind you guys, game 4 in Denver, down 2-1. The Nuggets led by 9 in the fourth quarter. Lou Dort, I'm pretty sure, hit 3 straight threes, and Denver ran out of gas. Rob, you know who's not going to run out of gas? The Indiana Pacers.
That's a good point. I'll tell you what, Ben Mathurin, quickly before we get to the rest of the series, you'll appreciate this as a Lakers fan like me. There were a lot of Pacer fans. There was a national conversation on some of the, the NBA heavy podcasts that I listened to. Even last year, Indiana fans were over Ben Mathurin, the Ben Mathurin experience. They saw the talent, but the way that he plays does not necessarily fit their style, right? Like there are a lot of ball movement, player movement. No one really holds it too long, and it's spearheaded by Tyrese Halliburton. We've famously said his usage rate is in the 20s, low 20s, and he's one of the best point guards in the NBA. What we saw in Game 3 reminded me of the infamous Lonnie Walker game when the Lakers
Oh,
played the. Now, of course, Mathurin is a
wait,
much
wait.
better player than Walker.
What
Like
was
I
Lottie?
thought,
Well, hold on. Was that Memphis? No.
no, that was Golden State. Golden State
Yes.
to go up 3-1 in Game 4.
That's right. Oh, good.
And
Wow. Good
and
pull.
it was a guy that you weren't necessarily counting on. You want the ball to be in LeBron and AD's hands, and maybe Austin Reeves, and those got to do all the cooking, and that's how we win games. Indiana, the way they win games, ball movement, player movement, hit a lot of open threes, like they cause uh, chaos and confusion on the defense. Ben Mathurin doesn't play like that. Ben Mathurin is like, I'm gonna go get a bucket. Give me the ball. I'm going to attack a closeout. I'm going to attack a pick and roll. And this is what I do. It's probably why he doesn't play a whole lot of minutes because it kind of, if he's not playing well, it can really junk up their offense. But we saw a great Ben Mathurin performance in Game 3. As far as what we're talking about with Game 4, now again, full disclosure, I picked OKC in 4. So, like, what do I know, right? I'm looking really terrible as this
A
series
lot of
goes
people
on.
picked okay. Yeah.
But OKC, last I checked, this, of course, Game 2, the numbers have switched a little bit because they only won by 16. Off a loss, they were undefeated, winning games by 20, entering the NBA Finals. So that number is probably now at 19 and a half, 18 or so.
Okay.
So I am fully expecting OKC to come out. And as you mentioned, there's something to be said about a desperate team. There was people saying on Twitter that in Game 3, the way that Indiana approached the game with the full court press basically the entire game, right? They were pressuring ball the entire game. The way TJ McConnell and the spark plug he gave, the effort that you got from Miles Turner, and especially in that fourth quarter, like they played it like it was a game 7. Like they knew the numbers say if we don't win this game, 80% chance we're gonna lose. I think you're gonna get that flip side effort from OKC. That it's so hard for Indiana, even though they are at home and they want to go up 3-1, to match the desperation of a team that objectively is a better team than you are. So I think OKC rolls in Game 4.
Rolls double digits.
Oh, stats say they're going to win it by 18 plus. So yes, give me double digits for sure.
Interesting. I mean, huh? That's. I did not anticipate that, Rob. Here's my thing. Chet Holmgren. I don't. Listen. He's young and he's thin. I don't know that he has that dog in him. And I like Chet Holmgren, right? J Dub, I don't know that I believe in him. I think they're probably going to go, hey, Shai, you got to bring us home. And with 7 different guys guarding you all over the court, and you've got to go for what, 35, 40. I just think that's too much to ask. I don't know who steps up. Remember, Lou Dort hit 4 threes for them last night. Okay, Chet 0 for 6. Like, is Lou Dort, can you rely on it? Man, he hit 4 threes, I think, in Game 1. He's streaky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they got it in them. And I like Rick Carlisle. Would this be? I think they were what, minus, or they were plus 5,000 before the season. Some insane number. The Indiana Pacers.
Yep.
Do you think people are sitting at home, like NBA teams, saying, we just need to get younger, and like when Bronny's on the court, he needs to be picking up someone full court. Now you don't expect the veterans like a LeBron, a Luka. Well, Luka's not that much of a veteran, but older guys, you don't expect that. But maybe it's time to be like, hey, Bronny, we need, let's see how many minutes he played. Yeah, we need 18 minutes out of you a night. We need Ben Shepherd minutes. You don't have the size or length, but you have the tenacity. You got the young legs. We need that out of you. Like, I'm up for the Lakers going after Chris Paul in place of Gabe Vincent. Chris Paul want to try to get a ring on the cheap. Maybe, I don't know. But like, he's not going to be picking up full court for 18 minutes. I don't think could he give you 15 minutes of TJ McConnell? Could Chris Paul do that? Maybe he's older, but I think you've got to, Is this like a radical rethinking, or is this just a one-off random? Because we saw Minnesota do this. We saw Indiana do it to the Knicks. Remember, they would pick up Brunson full court and just wear him down, you know? And the way they're wearing down SGA, like, Rob, he was the MVP of the league. People were ready to crown him. You put him in the same sense, not you, but people were saying, oh, well, mid-range Kobe, and only 4 guys have won MVP, Finals MVP, and led the league in scoring, and he's in that class. I thought, I could have sworn, I don't know if it's for sure, I heard someone on an NBA podcast this week say, well, if SGA wins the title and MVP, he's a Hall of Famer. And I'm like, what are we doing? What's happening here? And the Indiana Pacers are basically saying, F that. That's not happening. Not on our watch. And to watch them just dog him. Listen, this is the kind of game where OKC struggled in the fourth. Kevin Durant would have been freaking perfect for them. Wouldn't he have?
Oh, yeah.
You need a bucket.
So as far as them picking up full court, and again, like if you can do that, great. The reason why it's more beneficial, especially against a team like OKC and to a lesser extent, well, to a greater extent, but in the previous series against a team like with the Knicks with Jalen Brunson, is they don't necessarily have a great secondary creator. Like J-Dub has kind of been thrust into that role, and I thought he was really good, especially in the second and third quarter. I thought he was awesome. But you can't say that, breaking down a defense is necessarily like his strength, right? Like that's not necessarily what he does. As a team, OKC only had 16 assists on 37 baskets.
Yeah, that's not offense.
Like that's not necessarily what they do. Now, if you try doing that against a team that has, bring it back to the Lakers, if you have Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves, you cannot do that. There's too many guys. Like you can't pressure like that because you're not going to really wear anyone down because they have 3 guys who can carry the load. And for OKC, or excuse me, for Indiana, it's hard to say that this is the new blueprint because nobody else plays the way they play.
That's a good point.
Right? Like they are very strategic with keeping their minutes down because they play at such a frenetic pace, because they know they would run their guys into the ground if they played them the way you would normally expect your upper echelon guys to play. I can't even say for sure that their defenders are like world beater defenders. They're really good. I'm not taking it away from them, but it's not like they have, if you go man for man down the roster, Neesmith, Nembhard, McConnell, Mathurin, like whoever, those guys are not as good defensively as the OKC guys. Point blank, period. If OKC wanted to pressure Indiana, the problem though is Tyrese Halliburton doesn't handle the ball like SGA. He's going to hit it ahead. He's going to pass around. And so by the time you pressure all these guys, it won't matter because the ball will be at the free throw line by the time you really got into him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, it's a styles make fights kind of thing. And right now, this is a great fight that we're watching here in this finals.
So we could wrap, Rob. I know I think I said the number was when you're tied at 1 and you go up 2-1, you win 79% of the time. It might be 80. I saw 79 on ESPN, 80 on this gambling place Poly Market, right? Which had the election. Interestingly, Poly Market only has the Pacers with a 35% chance to win the series. So something's crazy out of whack. Okay. I will remind everybody, the last one that I could find, I just quickly went through the finals, to win game 3 and lose the series was LeBron's Heat against the Mavs, an unbelievable series, which a lot of people have forgotten, except for LeBron. The Heat won game 1.
No. LeBron against the Warriors did that too. The first year when Kyrie was hurt and Kevin Love was hurt.
But they lost that series, right?
Yeah, they went up 2-1 and then lost. They lost.
Oh, yes, 6. Yes. Oh, good point. Good point. Because Curry had that game. I think it was like 37 in game 4 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So I missed that one, but the Heat, LeBron's Heat beat the Mavs, then lost to the Mavs, then win game 3 in a close one. But game 4 was the mysterious game that really deserves its own, like, what on earth happened here? That was the game where LeBron was 3 for 11 shooting and had 8 points. Just like, this was to go up 3-1, and Dallas storms back at the end in one of the bigger upsets, and Miami never won another game. Obviously, that could happen. Indiana certainly is no Heatles 1.0. That's for sure. But could SGA pull a Dirk Nowitzki? I don't know. We know SGA is a scoring machine. It's just a little different because Dirk, he's not getting pressure. He's just jogging down the court, getting to his spot. You know, SGA's got to initiate the offense, and they're going at him relentlessly. I thought Rick Carlisle coached a masterpiece, and we'll see a little bit of turnaround time here for Dagnall. Man, can you? By the way, my son finished 8th grade, and they have this big celebration in California. I didn't know it was a thing, but whatever. Do you remember your promotion from 8th grade, Rob?
I do.
Yeah, apparently it's big. It was nothing where I grew up in Virginia. And I happened to be sitting next to a buddy, and I totally forgot this. He's from Oklahoma, and he's a huge OKC fan. So his son, who's in 6th grade, goes, "Dude, my dad listens to Straight Fire every morning." I was like, "Oh, I forgot he's an OKC guy." And then his dad shows up, and he's like, "Man, I was going to get you a jersey." I'm like, "Oh, don't get me an SGA jersey." He goes, "No, Austin Reeves, because you can't stop talking about him."
That's right.
He goes, "You and Rob love you some Austin Reeves." I was like, "Listen, man, Austin Reeves is the man." But listen, I know I've bashed OKC a lot. If they show up in Game 4, they got the series. Obviously, they're not losing 2 of 3 at home. I feel confident saying that. Pacers got to win Game 4 on Friday. All right, that's it for today. Woo-wee. I think that series just got fascinating. I hope you guys feel the same way. Back tomorrow.